Good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is doing well. Hey, Rags. I hope everybody is doing well. I came on here a little early, so I'm going to give people a chance to load up in the room. Welcome back to my channel, Naughty Love Movement. Please remember to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Yes. And share my content on your different social media platforms and support the channel. All right. Support the channel. Donations are appreciated. And I appreciate all my support thus far. I appreciate my original day one subs. I appreciate my new subs. I appreciate my subs to come. We up, we outside, dude. The early bird gets the worm. All right. Yes. So today we want to get into the Carlos King interview with Royce Reed. Now, Royce has been gagged for a lot of years, not only by basketball wives, but also Dwight Howard. And I just wonder if they all was complicit. How come this looks weird? It's okay. And keeping her quiet. But she's been speaking up for years, especially for her experience that she went through with the show and everything. Um, she been calling Shawnee out on her mess. She been calling Evelyn out on her mess and stuff like that. And a lot was revealed in this interview. I'm gonna start it a little bit ahead. In the beginning, they talk about like her upbringing. Carlos King is a good interviewer. Say what you want about him. He's a good interviewer. Um, and she came from a two-parent household and things like that. She wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend until she graduated high school, which I thought that was interesting or whatever, because the show, Basketball Wives, tried to portray her like she was a home wrecking hoe because she was just a cheerleader. And that was the complete opposite of what Royce was. All right. So I found that interesting. Also, her virginity was taken by her from her in college. Someone R-word her, unfortunately, and that explains a lot about her emotional instability in the show. So she gets into a lot of that. We're gonna start the interview, let people load up in the room, and we'll go from there. All right. I got my Bluetooth on.
So you
Let
think
me know
it
if you
was
can hear it.
definitely mental, unless I was doing it to myself, you know? So once I started learning myself, I was like, oh, this is great. I don't need a man, But then I was like,
She's talking about masturbating.
like I can't just live life like having a vibrator sitting next to me. But now it's like the last guy I was dating, he took time to learn me. Mm. And that made me feel good. I felt special. I felt like I was worth something,
Oh, Royce, you are worth something.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
when I say, like you say, life be lifing,
Yeah.
What people see on the internet, and I say all the time, what you're seeing on social media is a snapshot of a person.
A lot of women go through that, especially when you've been traumatized from young. They go through that. They go through trouble finding their worth and everything like that because their definition of what a relationship should be and what love looks like is distorted, and that comes from the trauma. I'm glad she's talking about
Really
it
know
though.
what they're actually going through. And I'm that person where I don't need everybody to know when I'm having my worst times, or so I felt. But then as I started telling my story to more people, that's when I realized how many people I was helping, or that when I'm going through therapy, they're also going through the same therapy. When I'm talking about certain things, they're able to relate. So I didn't know people wanted to see that side of me because I didn't think anybody cared.
Increase your profit and work less time with Kittl, a genius new AI tool which is perfect for print on demand. You can conquer any niche.
Hold on, this commercial. Yes. How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? I might be up too early for people, but yeah, no. The early bird gets the worm, and I gotta do what I gotta do. Okay. Here we go.
I'm sad to hear that because obviously the trauma you went through having your virginity taken away from you by, I'm assuming it was a college student. To have that happen to you, knowing that you weren't able to give that part of your body consensually. And what I'm hearing is the trauma that a woman deals with, having her body taken away from her forcefully, right? Forcefully, and then having to be in sexual relationship with men. Your first time should be special, and it should be something that you said yes to. And I now understand your thought process because obviously you're you're still healing from what happened to you years ago. As you get to be in these relationships, do I trust men? Is sex really for the man to just get off? Are women supposed to enjoy sex?
I thought people were faking it. Like when women be like, "Oh, I love this. I love having sex. Oh, I do it every day," and I'm like, "Ow." That's how I would think. Like, ouch. You know, people would see me dating, and I had like my rule on the show. My 6 month rule, and it's like, did you get to 6 months? And you know what I mean? And
I understand why she did that, but 6 months is a long time to be waiting, boys. But sex is supposed to be pleasurable for Sorry, that was my alarm. What is going on up here? Cops is lit in Montclair. I'm glad she's being very transparent, seriously. And Royce looks good. I wish I could show y'all, but we just doing audio. It's mad traffic.
that was real for me because when I did, give myself to that person, I expected it to always hurt.
Wow.
Yeah. And my mom, I look up to my mom so much. She's my best friend. And the only person my mom has ever been with is my dad.
Wow.
Yeah. So growing up, even with that,
you wanted to mimic that.
Yeah.
You wanted your first to be your only. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. While you were in college, did you participate in activities dealing with like dance and all? Okay.
Yep, I was in Mahogany Dance Theater, and they're still going strong. I was a president, and then I was cheering. I was a captain for 1 year. And people keep saying I was like kicked off the team. I was not kicked off. They broke my arm. Like, what did you think I was gonna do? I quit. Like, I did not get kicked off. Stop. But yeah, and then I was in the Essential Theater. But they were always mad at me because I didn't really do like audition for the plays because I was cheering and I was dancing. They're like, Royce, this is your major. I'm like, but I know. So I didn't get back into acting until after I graduated.
So before reality TV, you were an actress. How did the reality TV show Basketball Wives come about then?
So I was dancing for the Heat. And even prior to that, I knew Shawnee. And we were always cool. Like, she always respected me because I guess I was one of the dancers that respected the wives. I wasn't trying to get with their men. I mean,
despite that on the show, they tried to slut shame her. And Shawnee knew this. That's why reality TV is toxic. Toxic. Reality TV will try to change your image despite whatever, just for the ratings. It's crazy. So she knew Shawnee beforehand. And that's what I thought was very revealing about this interview. She exposed a lot about Shawnee.
Come on.
Well, no, listen, I don't know that world, yeah. So.
I mean, right now, one of the girls that I dance with, like, she's married to, like, the head coach of the Heat. So clearly, like, we saw stuff. You know what I mean? But I never was messing with the players. Except Dwight, obviously. Yeah, but, like, I always respected everybody's relationship. And she came up to me one day, and she asked me about if I would be interested in doing a show. And I was like, well, what kind of show? And she was like, just kind of following those who've had relationships with, basketball players and you being a dancer, like even kind of navigating that. And I was like, oh, okay, because I had confided in her about some stuff I had been going through. And I trusted that it was going to be a very positive, show that really showed everybody's career. And yeah, I was hoodwinked, bamboozled. Yeah.
So you didn't watch the show before Shawnee approached you?
No, I was on the original season.
Well, that's the thing. Just I wanted to clarify this. You were on season. But what episode did you get introduced?
One.
Season 1, episode 1.
Yeah.
So when the show came about, Shawnee O'Neal approaches you. Did you know who the other cast member was going to be?
No, because I think at that point I might have been the only one that she had talked about it with, because then I was introduced to Tom Huffman, who was the creator. And he started having me go to all the meetings. I was the one who pitched the show. When we went and filmed the little sizzle, I was the only cast member that went to all the stations. I was the only one that was in those meetings. Shawnee wasn't even there. It was me and Tom, yeah.
Wait, so when the show was being developed, Royce Reed you were part of developing the show?
Yes. I was the only cast member that went to all those meetings. I even have
But yet they give Shawnee the credit. It's crazy, yo. She's the only one that went to all the meetings. She was the one that developed the show. Hence the reason, the motive behind them mistreating her on the show, because Shawnee and Evelyn and all of them wanted to take all the credit. You see how these people are grimy. People are grimy. Something is going on with my view where I can't see stuff. All right.
my Facebook, I have a whole gallery when I was at all the stations taking pictures. Like, this is cool. Yeah, I met with all the heads. Yeah.
Were you also in the pitch meetings? And
yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I did those meetings. She wasn't even there. Her best friend was there. It was me, Tom, and her best friend. Nobody else from the cast.
So throughout this pitching, I said, I never heard this story before.
I know.
Oh.
You wouldn't. Even though I've said it many times. I've talked about it, but it's always if you don't say anything, maybe nobody will see it.
Well, honey, they're gonna see this. So, when you were pitching with Tom Hoffman, where was Shawnee O'Neal throughout this process?
They would call her on the phone, after the meetings. But I think she was doing another show. I think that's also when they had their own show.
Shawnee and Shaq.
Yeah. I think that was around that time. So.
Interesting. Yeah. So when the show got picked up, you knew instantly, I'm assuming. You knew when the show got picked up.
How many stations even asked for it. It was I want to say it was around 8.
8 networks wanted Basketball Wives.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know one that was big was the CW, but it didn't end up doing that one, obviously.
Yeah, because at the time, I think UP and the CW were doing American Next Top Model.
So
they were into reality television.
I'm catching all the traffic this morning. Okay, so Reese revealed that she was a part of developing the show. Isn't that weird? That Shawnee takes all the credit. I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit.
Government is paying for people to go back to school if they're interested.
I don't want to go back to school.
Next day, they're like, okay, you're gonna film with, these girls or whatever, and you're just gonna talk about the pool party. Okay, cool. So I think we went into, was it Evelyn's shoe store? I can't remember exactly. I feel like that's where it was. And it was a bomb was dropped on me. And that's when they were saying all these things oh, it's a bad look for us, and we look crazy hanging with you. And I remember I started getting emotional. I think I dropped a few tears because it came out of nowhere. These girls were just cool with me, and now all of a sudden, I make you look bad, you know? And, you know, I grew up with everybody like liking me, so I thought, you know, I always had friends, like, I was the one that was kind of cutting people off. So, yeah, I didn't expect that at all.
Did you feel betrayed that the girls were saying this about you for the sake of making good TV?
Yes. And I think it continued to be that. And, you know, I always defended myself. Always. But I definitely, I learned quick. Because even after the pool party and like, I'm hearing all these things and we're filming, I cut my phone off. I didn't even talk to my family for like 2 days. And I didn't go to see my godparents for like a week because I felt maybe they felt the same way.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and it was on TMZ. I'm looking at comments and I'm just.
Reality TV tears down your self esteem. It's not meant to build you up. And that's just messed up. They turned on her like that. But I can see it. Evelyn has always been a mean girl. Shawnee got her mean girl ways. She from North. Her and Shaq from North. I'm not gonna blame her ways on being from North, but she just always had her mean girl ways. Ooh. All right, so we at the dentist. I'm gonna wait. My appointment's not till 9, but I had to do my live. We back. We back. All right, and we're fixed. Thank God. All right, so we getting into the Royce Reed interview with Carlos King. She's former basketball wife, also baby mother to Dwight Howard's son. You know, it's been a lot of controversy going on in the news about him and his sexuality and the things that he does. But Royce has been speaking for years on how he has treated her, how he was basically gagging her and mistreating their son and things like that. So for years she couldn't speak out because she was under a gag order. But yeah, the interview was interesting. So far, we learned that Royce grew up in a two-family household. Her parents are still married to this day. Also, she did not date. She was not allowed to date until she graduated high school. And then when she went to college, her virginity was stolen from her due to R word, unfortunately, which I think speaks to a lot of her emotional fragility when she was on Basketball Wives. Also, we found out Royce was the one going around pitching the show. Shawnee wasn't there. She helped develop the show. Hey Kim, good morning. The link is there if anybody wants to come out, but I'm just getting into the interview with Carlos King. It's a two-part interview, and this is part one. All right. So she's getting into how she built up into the reality TV realm. And Royce was an actress, a dancer, a cheerleader before all of that. And she was also cool with Shawnee because she was one of the ones that was one of the cheerleaders that was really respectful to all the basketball wives. All right. Now on the show, they tried to portray her like she was a slut, like she slept around, like she was a man stealer. The insecurities. Hey Kim.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, girl. Getting ready to get out here in these Medicare streets, but I had seen that. I have got the I have only watched the first episode, but I got them all queued up. But and I had to rewatch it because I was doing work and everything. But it seemed like it was getting interesting. I really
Yes.
went through 2 or 3, but I didn't pay attention. So I'm gonna start from the beginning because I got to get the nuances. Because I see that first of all, Evelyn coming in hot.
Yes.
She coming in hot. And Jennifer, I don't know about Jennifer. I really don't. She's just an anomaly to me because she's so fucking, oh, excuse me, she's so fake. I don't know what to
She
do.
definitely fake. She definitely fake bougie. But
Fake
she
bougie.
dumb. She
And
dumb
that's
when
the
it
other
come to
thing.
men.
It is. It is. And somebody else broke her down. I think it was Storm Monroe. Somebody broke her down or something like that, talking about from not, because he was giving all the men nicknames. And so the first husband was not. And then there was somebody in between him and Sweetie Pie's
Him.
son Tim, and
Him.
then it was a scammer, and then it's this young dude.
Yep. Who's probably scamming her too.
Yeah, well, they said that that remains to be seen because he was put away. He was away at college per se. You know what I mean?
He was
And
locked up.
yeah, I know. I was trying to be. I trying to be nice. And then, but he was smart because he made himself. They said that he studied investments and he invested other people invest money. He invested money and he ended up with 10 million coming out of there.
Woo!
So they say he may be, but he's smart. But we got to see what his intent, how they gonna all play out. But even on here, he just seemed like, all he is like a yes man. Mm-hmm, honey. Oh, really? Yeah. Like he got a filler conversation, not like he really got anything to put in. But who knows? But what would I see that Carlos is starting to interview people now.
Well, he been interviewing people all over the place, and I know Juice. She brought this up yesterday. She's like, "Why is Carlos interviewing everyone else except for his show?" Well, he did interview people from his show, but what I think Carlos is trying to do, you know how Andy has Watch What Happens Live?
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
That's what I think he's doing with his YouTube.
Here, and then I'm gonna tell you something. The difference between him, I like that Carlos does it because for some reason, it's something about Carlos that people open up to,
Yeah, well, he's a good interviewer.
and they tell him everything.
He's a good interviewer. I think Jason Lee is a good interviewer.
Oh, I love Jason Lee. I love him, and I like the way he can handle people, difficult ones like Krishan. But back to Carlos, like when Kenya came over there, now maybe Kenya don't say nothing to she not as vocal or as open when she on on Andy's show because that is still her boss. But hey, she came with it on Carlos, okay?
Yep.
About how they did her, how they wasn't protecting her, how they did Marlo compared to her. She dropped the T, even that she might not even come back there. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, Kenya, Andy gonna be watching this, but she didn't care. Carlos got a way of bringing that stuff out of people. Even Nene, you know what I mean? But Nene came in there. The way Nene flounced in there, you could tell that she was ready to give it all up. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, Royce gave it all up this first part of the interview. And she's revealing a lot about she's been saying that show, they got Mean Girl vibes on there. It's been like that.
Oh, it's been like that. It's been like that. They are mean girls, and Shawnee is one. Shawnee is a soup stirrer. Okay.
Yep. And see, Shawnee, she dropped the jewels and then hide her hand and let her puppets do her dirty work.
Evelyn. So
Uh-huh.
Jackie just plain crazy.
Yeah, Jackie just straight up crazy. Period. Period. So we was listening to the interview. Hold on, let me play a little bit more of it.
Okay, babe.
That was gonna happen. Yeah. So she was like, "I'll do it." She got her ass beat, but I mean, yeah.
Poor Susie.
Yeah.
Where is she?
I have no idea. I have not spoken to Susie since I was on the show, which is crazy because we didn't have a falling out, right. But yeah, I haven't talked to her at all. I talk to Keisha every now and then, Tammy every now and then, Mika, Kenya, the people that, people don't remember, I guess.
No. They remember Tammy.
Well, it's outside of Tammy.
Tammy, yes. Susie, and Mika for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But they remember Mika Claxton style.
Yeah. Tammy is doing her thing.
No, she is, and she loves you. She's on my podcast too. She loves you. She loves you.
Yeah, that's big sis.
No, she does love you. So, season 2.
Remember, they did Tammy bad too. They was talking about her fashions. They attacked her as soon as she came on the show.
Yeah, they
It's
did.
starting.
Huh?
They did. You're right.
They did. They did. And James, I see your comment, and we're gonna get into that. Because I think she was accused of some child neglect and stuff like that. We're gonna get into that.
And I feel like this is when we did see what you said earlier, which is you started coming for these girls. And you started to stand up for yourself in a very big way. Because look, obviously, you are a petite woman. And sometimes people...
I'm thick now, though.
Oh, no.
I done got thick. Naturally, I done got thick.
No BBL or nothing.
None.
Yeah, she did get thick. And Royce kind of remind me of me because I was always petite when I was coming up or whatever. And I always had a little junk in my trunk, you know what I'm saying? But people ain't realize it until I started hitting like over 35. And I started feeling in. So I feel like Royce looks good. She looks good. And her body is natural.
Hello. I just want to ask a question. Where are you thick at? You still narrow. Where you thick at?
I'm still slim, but the booty filled in.
Well, now you got a little onion back there now. You make them want to crack, but I'm just saying, you're thin.
Okay? I got some rolls, Kim. I be sucking it in sometimes.
Okay, we'll go ahead on because we ain't going to debate that. Okay, go ahead.
Here we go.
Oh.
No, you snatched, boo. You snatched. But you know how some people underestimate petite women. And one thing about you, you don't raise your voice, but you raise the vibration in a room. And people know not to play with you at all. So we saw moments of you and Evelyn have some of the most intense fights and arguments. What was it about you that Evelyn, from what I was watching as a fan, she seemed to just have a hard on for you? Did you feel like you were a target?
Oh, definitely. And I felt it's because she underestimated me. You know, Evelyn tends to be quick, you know, with her words, but I was quicker, you know, and she would try and use certain, you know, situations against me, but then I would use facts against her. And I think it just came down to a tit for tat. And she wanted to always win, and she wasn't winning. Like, I mean, really everything. Everything she tried to say about me that was just a lie. It was always, you know, debunked. So,
some of the stuff you would say to her had a lot to do with her alleged promiscuity.
That old saying, "What you eat don't make me shit." Like, I really didn't really care about what she was doing as long as it didn't affect me. But then when I would start hearing stuff and then I would start seeing things, I'm like, oh, but you got so much to say about me.
You would hear this from like social media or just people?
Well, not even just social media, like just people, you know, in my DMs, like back then it was Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, Instagram wasn't really a thing. So it was, I would see stuff on Twitter. People would send it to me. And then Facebook, you know, but a lot of that stuff I just kept close to the vest, you know, and there's still some things that I've heard that I just think is just too personal. So I would never say, no matter how much I can't stand her or whatever, I just would never say, you know. I do have a line for some people.
What do you think about Evelyn now?
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what she's doing. I know the last time that I said something was with that whole situation with OG. But yeah, I don't, you know, when I say like I don't F with somebody or That's saying they're dead to me. I know that's like mean to say, but I don't look at you. I don't follow you. I don't try and see what you're doing.
All right, so she's saying Evelyn Dusk. Okay, because I see the shade, Kim. Evelyn, Evelyn, she admits to being with a lot of people. Kim, you still there?
I'm here, baby.
She admits to being with a lot of people. She does. Remember when she got married to Chad Ochocinco? She asked him straight up, like, well, what did you think about? How do you feel about my reputation? Because I think she used to mess with Puffy back in the day
She mess with
when he
anybody that she
started
thinks she can get a
Bad
come up
Boy,
its on.
huh?
She mess with anybody that she thinks she can get a come up its on.
Absolutely, she a Jersey chaser.
Mm-hmm.
Even Tammy said it. She done mess with men in all of the sport arenas, okay? Baseball, football, basketball. She a Jersey
Mm-hmm.
chaser. And that's what the ironic thing is. Like, you steady trying to tear other people down and make all these accusations like Royce was sleeping around when you were just projecting who you really were.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got any thoughts on what we just heard? I think it was all fact.
Yeah, not really.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna go back.
And it's not that I don't care. Well, I don't care, but it's just it doesn't affect my life. So why should I?
When you two had that infamous drink throwing match. Now look, what was interesting was season one. I remember Evelyn threw a drink at some woman, and I think Susie was there.
I was there too.
Right, and it was a.
Evelyn throw drinks because she ain't got no hands for real, okay?
It was plastic.
Oh, that was with Susie.
That was Susie. It was a plastic cup.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I'm like, okay, fine. This was plastic. When y'all threw a drink, it was glass. Mm-hmm. She threw it 1st. Mm-hmm. And obviously, as anybody, I don't care if you a saint or a sinner, you're going to defend yourself. When someone throws a glass drink at you, we saw.
Somebody throw a grass drink at me, my fist gonna be in the back of their throat. Sorry.
That in that moment, what was going through your mind? Because I never felt that what you were saying in that moment warranted a like it wasn't like the glass was being thrown over your head like, and tell me if I'm wrong, but watching it, you were there. I felt like she was trying to hit you with the glass. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about like paint the picture for us, because that even then we were all like, y'all like a glass, and y'all were like low key, kind of this close to each other. Yeah.
So I knew we were about to film that scene. I don't even remember what happened before it and why we were like getting together to film the scene, but we were. And I had already been getting her together anyway, so it was kind of like I knew she was finna come with the shits. And she just kept talking, and I was just like, okay, well, straight up, I don't like you. I don't, well, whatever I said. And then it was like she couldn't come back at me fast enough with words. So then it was like, you're a bum, okay, and you're a hoe. And I was real calm. And then she just kept, I guess, because I wasn't bothered enough. Yeah. I think that's what bothered her. And when she threw the glass, the only thing that went through my head was neck, nose, side of the head. That's the only thing that went through my head. I told you I grew up in the hood. I know how to fight. Fighting hurts. Don't hit me. Ouch. So I like to fight and get it over with if I have to. And I was taught neck, nose, side of the head.
Having a connection with parents, the homeschool connection.
Okay. Royce wasn't scared of you. No matter what you did, Royce was not bothered. And I feel like Evelyn always tries to bully her way and push her agenda.
Hit in the nose, your eyes water, you can't see. And you hit them on the side of the head, they fall out, and then you're done.
Royce is so funny.
Y'all, listen, I grew up in the hood of Detroit. That is.
I'm serious. Who likes to fight unless you're a
I don't like to fight at all.
Exactly. But if you have to, it's like, don't you want to get it over with as soon as possible?
I would have so, yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be fighting long enough for you to be hitting me everywhere. Like, ouch. ow, that shit hurts. Like, no, I'm gonna make sure this is over fast.
Oh, Royce, I love
I love Royce. And I love that she has not changed.
y'all. Underestimate Royce. That Royce ain't scared of none of y'all. And what we all saw that was so fascinating is all the girls at one point in time attempted to try you, and your quickness in defending yourself very subtly, like because you're not loud, you're not like you're very much like
You know who Royce remind me of, Kim? Candace
Mm.
on Potomac.
Mm-hmm.
But Royce has better control of her emotion.
Yeah, and she not as witty and cutting as Candace though. Because
Exactly.
Candace, even though Candace can't fight, that dang on tongue of Candace will make you want to be her because her tongue is vicious.
It's
She got
vicious.
the she got the burnt earth theory with that tongue. Once she say something, don't nothing grow or live no more. Okay.
Mm. I love it. Yes. Okay, come on. Let me see. I gotta check my time. All right, we got a little bit more time.
Mhm.
I can do it too. Yep. We can do this all day, sis. Boom, 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 boom. Did you feel like Tammy was testing you in that moment?
Yes. And I felt like that because she had been testing everybody. And I kind of felt like everybody else was kind of being like, oh, I'm not finna fuck with her, you know? But I've always been like, I've always been the same person. Like, I'm going to fight my own battles. So when that scene happened, I think that's actually what started our friendship because I was
Wow.
maybe like the one that like stood up to her.
Now her and Tammy are still friends to this day. They're still close. The two people that were bullied the most on the show. All right. So I'm happy they survived that.
But also, she saw it was cool as shit. I'm cool, damn it.
No, you are. But this is the thing. You are definitely one of the fan favorites, and I know you don't see it, but as somebody who's in the industry, who kind of knows my audience of reality TV lovers, you are always amongst the conversation when people talk about that show because you were always so authentic. You weren't trying too hard. You weren't trying to be somebody you weren't. We all appreciated the authenticity you brought to the show and how you were able, as a petite woman, to defend herself amongst these. When you compare sizes, these women are obviously taller than you, but you never back down to a fight. And we love that about you because in a weird way, you sort of represented the underdogs who we were in our lives at one point when people just kind of like tried to play us, and you was like, "No, you're not gonna play me." And then the moment they knew they could try you, like with Tammy, she said, "I respect it," because Tammy and I are friends, and she loves you. Tammy said she was like, "I will test people like, yo, what's good," and she will get her respect that she has for you based upon how you handled her. Yep. So we do credit you with that. What was it like working with Tammy?
I love Tammy. She was fun. Like I remember one scene that they didn't ever show. I think it might have been on like extra footage when we went to church for Kenya, and we were in there, and
That's right. See, James said he talking about Evelyn. She threw bottles at Kenya Bell. That's who Royce is talking about right now.
Mm-hmm.
she didn't have any drawers on. She was just talking about it the whole time when we in church, and like we had no idea we were gonna actually be in church. We just thought we were going to the church to have this conversation for Kenya about doing some music video or whatever. And it was like now we're going, into the actual like church, and we're sitting
All
down.
right, I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit because they just talking about scenes from Basketball Wives. Hold on.
When she was, the whole thank you for your services and all that stuff.
Oh
She
wait.
didn't have the power to fire him. Damn, they really don't give a about me at all. So I felt like I was just
So Royce is talking about when she just felt like she was just discarded from the show. And that's the way, that's kind of how Shawnee does things. She did it with Brandy and things like that. So she's gonna get into that. Here we go.
A figure. Like, I'm just a cast member. I wasn't a person.
You weren't a person.
Yeah, I was a character
that they could play with. Working with Shawnee, again, this woman approached you to do the show. You helped pitch it, develop it, and to get it sold. And then all of a sudden, the friendship you thought you had with her went this way. People have said that it was challenging working with Shawnee because how can we work with somebody who is the executive producer of the show, gets to watch the footage, and we have to be in scenes with her? Was that very hard to do?
It was, and I think it was probably harder for those who came after me because she was on the show a lot more. You know, when she was with us, she did season 1 partially. And then, you know, she would step in every blue moon, but like with them, she was on the show a lot. So when I see situations like, I think it was Brandy, you know, it's like I felt that when she had, when, you know, that whole thank you for your services and all that stuff. Well, she didn't have the power to fire anybody. So that's, you know, people say, oh, this is Shawnee's show, this is her show. No, it's not. It's not. But I think just watching that and feeling Brandy's like energy just through the screen, it's like, girl, I know how you feel. You know, like I've been there and nowhere near the level that she had to deal with it. So I think it's unfair for sure, especially when she's telling certain people what someone else is saying.
And it appears that her allegiance was with Evelyn.
Absolutely.
A lot of people have said it. Tammy has said it on my podcast too, that they all were shocked to come to the realization that I thought we were friends until it became a choice between me, what I'm doing, and Evelyn, and that side was Evelyn and Shawnee all day long. Everybody who's come on my podcast has said that, so that has been your experience too.
Absolutely. I mean, is there a scene where she's ever telling her that she's wrong?
Never. Never. No, Evelyn can do no wrong. And I agree with Royce. Like, how can you be your authentic self when you got someone being a puppet master in your face, playing in your face, acting like you my friend, and then as soon as we film, you on Evelyn's side and Evelyn's side only?
I disagree with what she said about that she don't have the power. Officially, she may not have the power, but power and influence go hand in hand sometimes. Whereas she may not have the power, but when she says that, and she says, so first of all, words have power. So for her saying that not only deflated Brandy, but also she does have influence because she is the EP on there. So people want to keep their job. They're going to flock to Shawnee's side. And then all has to happen after that is that, and we've heard this many times, is that people don't have to film with you. And if they don't film with you, then where does that leave you?
An outsider.
Right. So that's what she did. That's what she did. So that's the same thing as having power. Is all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Yep. All right. Great point.
I mean, I didn't watch like all these past seasons. I watched up until I think I watched the first season of LA, and then I watched the episode with the table with
Malaysia.
With Malaysia, I watched that one, and like I watched pieces because you know people would post snippets, and then the thing with one with Tammy.
You have a good day. I got to get out of here.
And what was her name? Laura.
What'd you say, Cam?
Have a good day. I got to get out of here, honey. I love
Okay,
you.
take care. I love you. I'll call you later.
Okay, babe. Bye bye.
I love Kim.
Laura.
Yeah. And then I saw the episode with OG. And like
I
Johnson and Wales students are determined.
I'm gonna skip to the end, but we'll catch part 2 next week. Um, they start leading into the Dwight Howard conversation towards the end.
you know what I'm saying? I feel like with basketball wives, it's just always like, let's film some bullshit, you know? I mean, people ask me about the scene where I told them where 2023, because it's so much different than when we grew up.
It is. And social media is.
It's a blessing and a curse.
And
I agree.
It's a stamp on where we are as a nation. It's remember back in our day, because we're the same age, where you just had the TV.
Yes.
And that's what you had. We loved it. Watch TV during dinner, all those things.
You had a VCR if you had, and don't
forget, VHS tape, hit that record. Because if you miss a performance,
you gotta wait.
You gotta
till the rerun.
Or it's gone.
Or it's gone. Yes.
It's that. Social media has overtaken this world. So going into you being a single mom right now.
Yes.
Obviously, your child's father is Dwight Howard, who was a basketball player on the Miami Heat when you two first met.
Orlando Magic.
I'm sorry, Orlando Magic.
Yeah.
Orlando Magic is who he was playing for.
He actually hadn't played a game yet.
Oh, well, how did you and Dwight meet?
See, that's a whole nother misconception. Yeah.
How did you and Dwight Howard meet?
Yeah. So, me and a couple of my friends, Nikisha, Angelina, not that y'all know them, but we were actually going to see The Notebook at Pleasure Island. That's what it was called back then. And we were at the concession stand, and he walked in with like some of his friends. And
yes, she is baby mom to Dwight Howard's son. A whole bunch of he's had gag orders on her for years. All right, she's been trying to speak out against how he was abusive towards her son, everything. There's also been accusations against Reese neglecting her son. And I think that's what part 2 is going to get into the most. But she's been trying to speak on his little filthy ways for years. Exactly, Essence. The link is there if you want to come up.
Nikisha's like, oh, I think that's the rookie. And I turned around and I was like, rookie who? Because we weren't dancing that year. We both didn't try out. Well, I tried out. But then when I saw Nikisha and Anise walk in regular clothes, I said, I'm not trying out anymore. Because I didn't want to be on the team without them. That's how close we were. But anyway, so she was like, Magic rookie. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Went back, concession stand, everything. They walk up to the concession stand, and he's looking, and then he goes, y'all in my book. Hello? Hi. Y'all in my book. I'm like, sweetheart, what book? My yearbook. I said, no, I'm grown. He's like, no, my magic book. Because then he still had that like young, even like conversation. But he was like, my magic book. He's like, I'm the rookie. And I was like, oh, okay, I heard. Right? And I had a boyfriend, the one I was talking about from college. So I wasn't really trying to give him like the time of day. Well, I went into the theater. My then boyfriend calls me. He thought I was at the movies with somebody else. He thought I was cheating on him. So I walk out, and I'm like standing in front of the bathroom. He walks over, and now I'm in tears because my boyfriend is now breaking up with me. Yeah. So he's standing there, and I walk in the bathroom because I'm like, this is weird. But then when I come out, he's still sitting there, and he's like, you good? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, no man should make you cry like that. Thank you. That was that conversation. After the movie, because I think they went to see Transformers. After the movie, we're all in the parking lot because they're letting out around the same time. And he comes over, and now my friends have already amped me up, like, girl, fuck him. You could do better, all this stuff. So when we see Dwight and stuff again, he comes back and he asked me for my number. So he got my number. And for like the first month, I didn't like really give him any like real hope. Because if he called me before 10 o'clock, I would be like, it's too early. I was just being a bitch.
As you all know, she's a stickler for her rules, child. She's a stickler for her rules. She had been waiting 6 months for her cootie cat, okay? 6 months.
But
were you not attracted to him?
It wasn't even that. It was, I was trying to just make so I thought we were going to get back together.
Of course.
I was trying to make him jealous. You know what I mean? So when I realized we weren't actually getting back together, I was like, let me stop being mean, right? So we went to the movies, and it was fun. And then I remember the first time we went to the movies, like a kid and like his dad recognized me as a dancer, and they didn't recognize him. So that was an ongoing joke we had. He's like, dang, you big out here, huh? I was like, nobody really knows the Magic Dancers. He probably has a season ticket, But as time went on, like, I was like, he has a good heart. And he would make me laugh. Like, we had fun. We had grown into being like friends. And then he started taking me to like different events. And, my former coach would see us there and she'd be like, oh, what's going on here? And I'm like, nothing. Like, we're just friends, And then he started introducing me more as like, this my girl. When did we have this conversation? But then it ended up being like, we were together. And it just grew. And that was July 31st, 2004.
You remember the date?
I do. I remember that date. I remember the date that Braylon was conceived, because even how that happened.
How did that happen?
I had found out that December, because he didn't want me to go back and dance. I did dance for Magic one more year. Not that year, but the year after. And
James dropped some jewels. Okay, see, I didn't know Royce actually married Dwight Howard. Shawnee was married to Shaquille O'Neal. This is when he was playing for Orlando Magic. And Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, and Dwight Howard did not get along. Fun fact for today. Ooh, did Shawnee have an ulterior motive when she invited Royce to be on Basketball Wives?
To the Heat. He came to my going away party and everything. I ended up finding out that he was cheating on me with a girl that I was on the team with. Yeah. And some of my teammates knew. So that caused even a rift between me and some of my teammates. So, I mean, we're all okay now. We just had our Heat reunion.
Okay.
But we're fine now. But
I hope it wasn't heated.
No.
Okay.
But I broke up with him. That was that December. So I wasn't answering his calls. I was like, leave me alone. I hate you. Then I got in an argument with Tracy from Superstars. People know her from Super Black Girl. Like, Tracy and I used to be like this. She was one of my best friends. I got into it with her at one of the games because she wanted to give me a size large shorts in spandex. I was an extra small. So I got suspended for 2 weeks. I went to Acapulco with DJ Irie. When I came back, my phone was blowing up. And Irie was like, oh, yeah, we played a Magic. I said, when? He's like, tonight. That's probably why he hitting you up. So I had been gone. But he had been T-mailing me, sidekick. Yep. He had been T-mailing me. He had been aiming me and everything, all the apologies. I miss you. I love you, all that stuff. And it was like, come see me, please. Let's just talk, all that. And I listened to my friend Irie. Just go see what he got to say, man. Maybe he got something good to say. Maybe he'll forgive him. Nah. I ended up going to the hotel. I listened to what he got to say, or had to say. I was getting ready to leave. He asked for a hug.
If you know me, then you know I am not.
Let's get through. We almost to the end, you guys. This is part one of Royce's interview. This is ending out with her relationship, how it began with Dwight Howard, and I think part two is going to dive more deep into it. What time is it? All right.
The hug turned into March 15th, 2007. And
they didn't get married.
In November.
No worries. Let me clear that up. No, they didn't get married. They were just boyfriend and girlfriend, Royce and Dwight Howard. It's all good, James.
Weeks early. He was actually due on his birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is when she got pregnant.
But when I tried to tell him I was pregnant, he apparently was asleep for 2 days, even though he had just played a game against Milwaukee. Listen, I remember stuff.
He wasn't answering the phone.
No. So I had to call his best friend. But when I found out, I boo-hoo cried.
Why?
Because I saw my career going, down the drain. Very selfish, I know. But I actually wanted to have an abortion. And I called my mom. And
how old were you when you got pregnant?
I was 26.
And how old was Dwight?
He was, what was he? I want to say 20. What was he? 23?
Okay.
Oh, so she's older.
Okay.
But
called your mom.
I called my mom, and I was hysterical. And she was going frantic because she didn't know why I was crying so hard. And then I finally told her, I was pregnant. And she goes, "Oh my God, I thought you killed somebody." But I told her, I was like, "But I'm not going to keep it. I'm not going to keep it." And she was like, "You need to tell your dad." I was like, "What?" No. I can't remember anyone in my family having a baby out of wedlock, So I was just like, absolutely not. And so I then started even asking him, I need money, so I can, get this done. And he said he wasn't going to send it until he saw me.
Dwight said this.
Mm-hmm. So he wanted me to come all the way back to Orlando.
Okay.
And I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to do it in Orlando because people knew me in Orlando. Mm-hmm. Granted, people knew me in Miami, but not so much Fort Lauderdale. All right.
Right.
So I then had to ask my mom again, and she was like, "Only if you tell your dad." So she put my dad on the phone, and I told him, and he was like, "Huh." I said, "But I'm not going to keep it." He was like, "What?" I was like, "I'm not going to keep it. You don't have to worry." He's like, "Baby, we don't do that in this family." Mm. And I was like, "Do what?" He was like, "You were woman enough to lay down. You've been woman enough to take care of this child." He was like, "You're not 16. He's like, "You're grown."
All right. So, yeah, this is the segue into next week's part two of the interview. I'm excited to see what she talks about. Guys, go check out the full interview. It was really revealing. The first half, it gets into her time with Basketball Wives and what she had to endure. A word. No judgment, though. Oh, the A word. Yeah. And I get why she considered that with where she was with in her career and the fact that she wasn't married and probably based on his character. I mean, he already had cheated on her once or whatever. But I did find the article. Shout out to Collider. It's titled "Basketball Wives" alum Reese speaks on baby daddy Dwight Howard controversy. Royce Reed dated Dwight Howard, but was banned from speaking about him publicly. He put her under a gag order. Admin his SA scandal. She has a lot to say. So some of the highlights are she's speaking it out about the troubling experience she endured during their 15-year relationship and co-parenting struggles. Reed claims Howard told his 12-year-old child that he was gay for not watching explicit material, shedding light on his questionable behavior as a parent. Um, Reed's revelations extend beyond Howard's treatment of his ex-partners and children, and exposing a history of NDAs and hidden secrets in his life as an NBA player. So Dwight Howard is a creep. They have a 15-year-old son named Braylon. In the midst of Howard himself being embroiled in legal troubles with a Georgia man accusing the former NBA star of SA, Reed is free of a gag order Howard used against her previously, and she can freely talk about some of the things that Howard has put her through. Reed was a former Orlando Magic cheerleader where Howard used to play. Reed was Howard's former partner and spoke out against the basketball player when a video of him motivating his children went viral. Okay, so Reed claims that Howard told a 12-year-old that he was gay for not watching explicit material, according to the comments that Reed herself made in the comments section of the Shade Room's post after describing Howard as an evil person. Howard has fathered 5 children with 5 different women, and Reed revealed that Howard asked her to sign an NDA to take on the role as the matriarch of his polyamorous relationships. From there, she alleged that he paid people to initiate smear campaigns against the mother of his children, hence James. That's why those child neglect charges came out. So now Reed is speaking out against Howard, his treatment of his ex-partner, and how he treats his children and everything else in his life that he kept hidden behind NDAs and locked doors while he was playing in the NBA. So seemingly referencing his current scandal, she posted memes that read, "And it all started because of your ego and disrespect. Jackie O, TKO. Yes." Howard has not only been accused of being a bad father and being neglectful from Reed, but the accusations of the essay from Stephen Harper are horrific. Howard has admitted to having sexual experience with the man in question, but he denies any assault and says it was a consensual relationship. Howard is also refusing to speak about his sexuality. Exactly. So I just wanted to bring y'all the tea. Go check out the full interview on Carlos King. Let me know what y'all think about this so far. Let's leave it in the comments, okay? I'm about to go in here to the dentist's office. I have to go get my crown put on. As you all know, I've been having dental work. But I thought it was a very good. I think Carlos King is a good interview. And I also think Jason Lee Messy Behind is a good interview. They just know how to dig into the sauce or whatever. But let me know what y'all think about this. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I don't know. I'm gonna look into that further, Essence. Or maybe it was a time limit on it. I believe he put the gag order on her when she started doing reality TV. Because he didn't want her talking about him on the show. Good morning, Niqua. Thank you for joining. So yeah, you guys, I have to go in here and to the dentist to get this work done so I can be to work on time. I hope y'all enjoyed this little recap review of the Carlos King interview with Royce Reed. Okay, and a lot was revealed. Shout out to my replay game. Please make sure you hitting that like, subscribe, and that bell button so that you can be notified when I update content to my channel. And to all my haters,
and I wanna say thank you in case I don't thank you enough.
I thank y'all too. Hit that like, hit the dislike. I don't care. Disengage with the channel. Okay? We are growing over here. We're almost to 2K subs. Yes! Growing naturally and fairly. Period. All right? I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day. Until next time, Naughty Crew, I'm out. 1.